Camille Breen, and I'm a docent here at Cranbrook House and Gardens. Cranbrook House and Gardens is the home of George and Ellen Booth and their 5 children, James, Grace, Warren, Henry, and Florence. And it was their family residence for more than 40 years. Although they were from very different backgrounds, they shared a vision to do something that would serve the community well. And so they created a center of art, education, and religion. Mr. Booth his family was from Cranbrook, England, and they were metalworkers. And Ellen's parents, the Scripps family, was from London, England, and they were bookbinders. So what we have here were 2 real Anglophiles, and it seems the English love long vistas. So when you look out the front door to the mountain, you have a lovely vista. And when you look out from the courtyard, down into the sunken garden, there's another lovely vista. When they purchased this property, they purchased 174 acres of a run-down, overgrown farm, and there were only a few stands of trees. When they moved up here initially, there was literally nothing else in the area, and so he had to support his family. So he had working farms here. They planted, I think it was 150,000 trees and shrubs on this property, 350 species. It was an incredible labor of love. In 1948, Mrs. Booth died, and in 1949, Mr. Booth died. Henry Scripps Booth, the youngest son, had felt that this home should be saved for posterity. The rest of the family said, if you're going to save the home, what are you going to do with it? He was a successful architect by that time. He decided he would move his architectural offices into the home, so now the home was busy again. However, the grounds were looking pretty grim, so he very cleverly formed an auxiliary. And the volunteers came in and they pulled the weeds and they planted the flowers, and I'm very pleased to tell you that these are the largest volunteer cared for gardens in America today. We have 40 acres of beautiful gardens. I suppose the gardens are certainly a wonderful contemplative place to be. On the mountain we have a beautiful fountain. It's a reduced version of a travertine marble Triton fountain that is in a piazza in Rome. And the piazza is the Bocca della Verita, or the Mouth of Truth. This fountain, it was done in 1717, and it was a papal commission, and you can tell that by the triple crown on it and the keys to the kingdom. And just off to the side of that is a fountain that we call the Weeping Zeus, and that's made of Carrara marble. It was purchased in Scotland in the mid-60s, and brought here by Henry, the youngest son. But the fun part of the Weeping Zeus is that when you look at him, you see that his eyes are crossed, signaling something is amiss. And when you step on a certain tile very close to that statue, out of his eyes comes water. The turtle fountain was done in about 1531. Originally, it was the big basin, and on top of that, there were 4 dolphins holding the next basin, and on top of that were 4 men holding another basin. When it was completed, everyone said, you know, this is pretty clumsy. So they redid the fountain and took off the top 77 years later. Along came a gentleman by the name of Giovanni Lorenzo Bernini, and he said, this fountain needs a few turtles on it. So he added 4 turtles to that top basin, and it became the Fontana della Tartaruge. The house, I'm telling you, I could move in and live here very happily the rest of my life. It's just the right size. The cradle of Cranbrook, and that is the library. It's 60 feet long, it's 22 feet wide, and if anything points to Mr. Booth's devotion to the arts and crafts movement, It is that room. Almost everything in the room is handmade. The walls are hand carved, the tapestries hand woven, the furniture is handmade, and many of the books were hand bound. The overmantel carving is a procession of the arts and crafts, and many of the disciplines were those that were taught at that time, many of them here at Cranbrook. So in that carving, you will see a metal worker, you'll see a bookbinder, you'll see a jeweler, you'll see a glassblower, you'll see a stained glass worker. In the center, because George believed that all of art was inspired by divine guidance, in the center you see a bishop pointing upwards, implying spiritual grace. And the other thing that should be noticed in the library is the beautiful tapestry. Mr. Booth had wanted a tapestry that really represented the arts and crafts. Another room is our beautiful living room or drawing room, and in that room we have the most significant art in the home. There is a piece by, these were two 18th century portrait artists. One was Sir Joshua Reynolds and the other was George Romney. Keep in mind these are 18th century portrait artists that many English aristocrats would debate who was the better of the two portrait artists. There is also a Corot hanging over the fireplace. There is a beautiful old portrait called Portrait of a Young Boy by Jacopo Pontormo. Each room is more lovely than the next, and they all tell a different story. I think people keep coming back to Cranbrook because of its peaceful nature, the beauty that surrounds almost every place you are on these grounds. I want people, when they leave Cranbrook, to understand that this family didn't just give to our community, they really gave to the world. It's well worth any visitor to come to Cranbrook. They will love it.